Welcome back, and we are going to discuss another distress tolerance skill. It is a classic DBT skill, and it is an acronym. There's a lot of acronyms in DBT. Some of them are a little easier than others, and I always tell people the way that DBT acronyms are set up is that although the word means kind of one whole meta skill, in a way, it's often smaller skills kind of combined into one. So if you struggle with memorization, or you find it really difficult to remember it, or you find that you're kind of studying it to memorize it, kind of focus on what the big picture looks like. And if it's easier, try to think about it as separate skills for memorization. So it is IMPROVE, and the acronym is a bunch of skills kind of molded into one. So it's imagery, it's meaning, it's prayer, relaxation, one thing in the moment, that's the O there, take a vacation, and encouragement. So I like to kind of picture them more as big picture rather than thinking about what every single letter means for some of them. So how to use this in distress tolerance? Imagery is just that. It could be picturing yourself on a beach. I have worked with people that really like the use of color for relaxation. So if they were feeling mad or angry or anxious, picturing like red color and sort of melting into like blue and greens. I have worked with people who really liked using a step system, which I personally like using. So sort of picturing yourself on the top of a staircase and kind of counting down and picturing as you take steps, kind of calming down anxiety or kind of feeling a little bit more balanced. So try to think of different things that you can use for imagery. It could be past places you've been, favorite vacations. It could even be like you laying in bed or looking forward to a warm bath the next day. It could involve you, it could involve somebody else, but just think of something that you find soothing or that will kind of center you or bring you down a little bit if you're feeling up, and then also vice versa. So picture something. It could be an actual image, it could be something from your religious background that kind of helps you focus. So finding meaning. An example that's used in DBT is often about kind of giving back for meaning, so volunteering, finding meaning in your life. And it's not about finding meaning in all of your life and coming to this giant realization about what you should do and anything, once again, like really big. It's just about in this moment. So finding meaning. The meaning for the day could be focusing on work. It could be focusing on your family. You could be spending your day organizing. The meaning for today could be achievement. It could be thinking of a word that gives you strength when you need it. So think about where you are. It could be kind of where you are in the world, but just where you are in your day or your week and even your moment. Right now, working. So the meaning to my life right now, in this very moment, is about kind of doing stuff, putting things back to the universe, and getting this course to you all. So prayer. So if you believe in a higher power or form of religion, feel free to use the P in this acronym for doing that kind of prayer. For some people who don't or might think this isn't for them, you can also sort of pray or think about prayer towards like Mother Earth. It could be towards the energy around you. It could be kind of just putting it out into the ether. It doesn't need to be anything organized or necessarily religious either when thinking about prayer. Moving on to relaxation. So if you can engage in some self-care in the moment, whether that's a breathing exercise or taking a bath, obviously that's great. For some people, relaxation might just be sitting at your desk and just taking 2 deep breaths because you got a lot to do and you just need to keep on studying or finish a project or do what you're working on. So try to think about things that you can do for relaxation. Something that you can do in the moment is often a good skill too. That takes a few seconds if that's all you have. And also, if you have 10, 20 minutes or an hour, how can you relax? It could be as simple as laying in bed and taking some deep breaths. It could be stretching at your back, and obviously it could be kind of getting a massage or doing something a little more luxurious. So next one in improve is one thing in the moment. One thing in the moment is about focusing on where you are in the moment. So one thing in the moment could be what's in front of you. It could be focusing on a bookcase. It could be focused on a light or a camera or your phone. It could be focusing on your feet on the floor. And the idea is to try to focus on something present. So not something that might have happened in your past that might still be affecting you. It might totally be valid, whether it's a trauma or another issue or just a really rough day at work or at school. And don't think about future. What am I going to do next month? How am I going to be able to do that? Try to sort of stay in the moment. So one thing in the moment is just quite literally about in the moment. I'm sitting here in uni. I'm sitting here at my job. I'm at a coffee shop right now. I'm working customer service. I'm dealing with a difficult conversation with a friend that I really don't want to have. And just focusing on your feet on the floor, the way your body feels, or even an item in the room. And remembering that you're here right now, not here and not here. And that stuff will still be there when you're done with this skill. So taking a vacation. And this one, when I did groups in outpatient settings, always kind of brought about a few eye rolls about, well, you can't just take off and go to Hawaii. You might not have the money, the time off. Then, there's a million reasons why we don't all just take luxurious vacations all the time, right? So ideally, yes, the books will tell you taking a vacation is to vacation, but I like to also think of it as taking a break from what you're doing. So taking a vacation, if you spend all day studying and you're really stressed out and you still have a couple of hours left, might be like grabbing lunch. It might be just getting out of your house and going to the corner coffee shop and just getting a mocha and sitting there for 20 minutes just to enjoy it. It might be, you know what, taking a Netflix break. I'm going to watch an episode of Netflix for the next 22 minutes. I will get back to whatever is going on. It could be, taking a physical break in your own house and just moving from one room to another, or doing sort of a little stretch or something and giving yourself just a little bit of relaxation. So vacation could be just taking a break from whatever you're doing. If you're in a difficult situation and you're not able to physically leave, kind of thinking about how you can give yourself a little mini vacation, whether that's, getting up and going and getting a cup of coffee, or maybe you're physically kind of stuck in an awkward work situation, and that might be just as simple as kind of like wiggling your toes or just doing a couple of breaths and giving yourself a little space between the situation and you if possible. If possible, of course, try to leave the situation, get a cup of coffee, take a break, eat a lunch, grab an apple out of the fridge, little things like that, just getting a break from whatever you're doing that's giving you the stressful situation. And the last one is encouragement. So maybe you are lucky enough and have healthy relationships where people will tell you that you're great and will give you praise and will kind of give you encouragement and tell you like you're doing wonderful and check in on you and all those wonderful things too. If that's something that you don't have in your life, thinking about quotes, thinking about mantras, thinking about I'm good enough, whether you want to sort of keep them on your phone. I've worked with a lot of people who actually utilize their phone wallpaper as a way to think about encouragement. And that way, every time they look at their phone, they saw something positive, and they focused on that. Or sort of thinking about quotes that you really like, images that you really like, things that kind of bring you up. So whether it's a book, whether it's cutting out quotes. When I did this in-person DBT, it was the collage day. It was sort of improved, and everyone really liked the collages. We'd, get out the glue sticks and a bunch of magazines that people brought in, and we would go through and kind of think about like what encouragement, what positive thing, and we would make improved collages. So feel free to make a collage as well. It's a pretty popular way of actually learning this skill. But think about ways to encourage yourself, and it could be words that are positive or positive thoughts, but it could also be things that kind of get you kind of motivated and along. If you are struggling because you were planning on running a marathon this summer and you still haven't gotten up to train and your mind is racing with, I signed up, I'm, living in the future. I signed up and there's 3 more months. There's no way I'm going to be able to run that marathon. I haven't, I've only ran 8 miles at most. That was a wild thought I had over the winter, and I'm just not feeling well enough to do that, but I promised this team or this friend that I would do it. And, I living in the past, oh God, I keep doing this. I keep setting myself up for failure. I keep thinking that I'm going to run a marathon. Come on, I'm never running a marathon. Why am I doing that? I should be happy with doing 5Ks and not trying to, do this, but you don't have a choice. Kind of thinking about kind of encouraging yourself. Maybe the encouragement that you provide is, okay, let's try to do at least 10.5 miles. The encouragement might be, you know what? I think being able to run 8-9 miles a couple times a week is pretty awesome. There's a lot of people who are unable to do that, and I've worked really hard to get up to that. Maybe I should be really proud that I'm able to do that. And if I'm not able to finish the marathon, or if it becomes painful, or if I end up having to walk more than half of it, you know what? 10 miles? That's a lot. I should be really proud of myself that I did 10 miles. And if you do have loved ones who encourage you, who are healthy and supportive in your life, feel free to sometimes ask for encouragement. It might seem silly to, say, hey, can you give me praise? But even just sending a quick message to a friend saying, like, I'm having a really rough day. I'm really struggling to focus at work. Tell me to focus at work. Might end up getting a whole bunch of feedback about, like, you gotta focus at work, Susan. You gotta do this. You're doing great. 3 more hours until you're out of here. So kind of think about ways that you can ask for encouragement. It might be cleaning your room. It might be sort of a really large task at work, but think about small ways to sort of start building that encouragement. And I think of it sometimes also as a little bit of body armor. So when someone says to you, you're lazy and you don't run marathons, you can say, but I run 10Ks. So try to think about kind of how you can begin building it. Improve is a great skill. It's also a meaty skill. Some of the acronyms are kind of big skills because I like to think of them as sort of small skills in one. So feel free to take a week or more to digest through this. Maybe start on 1 or 2, whether you're going letter by letter or kind of picking things like relaxation and imagery might be an easier start for you than maybe prayer and vacation. And start to kind of use this. Once again, it's a big skill, so try to break it up and see how you can get it all, or maybe even different pieces to work for you, which is kind of how I teach DBT, is kind of what works for you from the skill is what's going to work for you. So hopefully you found that informative. The DBT skill is improve.